AVC, thanks for dropping by. This is Ron, and you know, a couple weeks ago I promised a 45s video, so it's here. I'm gonna do it, and getting kind of thirsty here. So yeah, I'm gonna do my video, and I picked up some pretty cool 45s, you know, so I'm going to be showing those. There's going to be some recent pressings, there's going to be some old stuff. So, God, I'm getting kind of hungry too. Now, I don't usually eat on cam, you know, it's kind of weird, kind of rude actually, but man, I didn't eat breakfast, I'm starving. I think I'll have some popcorn. The heck? What the heck? This thing's empty. Whoa. No shit, this thing is fucking empty. Oh wow. No, really, this thing is empty and it's sealed. I didn't tamper with this thing at all. I mean, that is factory sealed. Now, what I did was I'd say, like last month, I went to the vending machine at work, and they have chips. And this is what I got out of there. I couldn't believe it. I mean, not only did it make it past quality control at the factory, the vendor that stocked the machine didn't even notice it. This is nuts. So yeah, I thought I had myself a really rare collector's item. So I put this sucker on eBay. Hey, you never know. I mean, they got a weird section that people would put really weird stuff on there. So I thought, well, hey, maybe I'll make a lot of money off of this, because people do buy weird stuff. You hear about it all the time. So I put my starting bid at 10 bucks. Nobody wanted it. So, you know what? I'm just going to hang on to it. Maybe I'll give it as a gag gift for Christmas or something like that. But yeah, pretty weird. So, enough of the jokes, enough of the fun. Let's get down to business. Time to check out the 45s. Okay folks, it's time to get going with the 45s. And there will be a few needle drops here and there. And the first one we're going to look at is, it's a novelty record by Ted Cassidy. He played Lurch on the Addams Family. And I had the original 45, but I didn't have the sleeve. So what I did is I just went online and I made my own sleeve using a color copier. I glued it together and made my own sleeve. So it turned out pretty cool, I think. I'm going to show some record store day releases. This is Andy Starr, Rock and Rollin' Stone. It's a double 8-song EP. Sundays reproduced the original MGM labels. This is pretty excellent. Reminded me a lot of Johnny Burdette Rock and Roll Trio, that raw rockabilly sound. This come out in 2013 Record Store Day. Picked this up used, and really cool. There's another Record Store Day release, alternate takes of I Feel a Whole Lot Better and It's No Use by the Byrds. Sundays, 2012 Record Store Day releases. Got this used. And it's on a very cool blue vinyl. Love it. I think this is where Sundays really shines, is on their 45s. Gene Clark, which is actually a Byrds reunion from 1970. The original band got together to put out a 45, and due to complications it got shelved. And then it was released on a Gene Clark Roadmaster album in Holland. And that was in 1973. But this is the first time that these 45s have ever been released on a single. This Question Mark and the Mysterians, 96 Tears, backed with Midnight Hour. Now these are 1997 re-recordings from their reunion album. It was also on the Collectibles label. Some of these got pressed on colored vinyl and the rest were on black. So I picked this up used. Very cool. It's originally from 1997. This is an obscure band by the name of Pretty, and it's on the Numero label. Mustache in Your Face. Heavy duty. Killer heavy duty cover. Double 45s, and comes with history of the band, cool photo. In 1971, when I went into 5th grade, I had pants exactly like those bell bottoms. They were purple with white pinstripes, and I thought I was really cool, let me tell you. More history of the band, and then there's a live shot of the band. These guys were out of Kansas City, Missouri, and I think they put out these 245s, and these are reproductions of the original label. That's a pretty bizarre label with the mouth and eyes. Funhouse and Red Spoon Gravy. I thought this was pretty good. It was a killer. It does have association with Michael Quinton, who is Quint from the Electric Prunes. He was actually in an earlier version of the Electric Prunes when it was Jim and the Lords. And then they changed their name to the Electric Prunes. Quint left, and then he came back later, midway through their Underground album, and he plays on a handful of the songs that are on that album. So yeah, it's got a little Electric Prunes thread connection. So pretty cool. Like I said, great cover on this.
Coming upstairs, I'm seeing you, girl, yeah, yeah. But you're not gonna take the rest of my world. Well, I must station your face.
Now these tracks were actually recorded in a cave, and it was a subterranean recording studio, so that's pretty cool. Picked up this Arizona Punk EP. It's got 4 different bands on it, and it's from 1993. It's got some, shows some flyers on the back. I never heard of this. I saw it looked cool, so I grabbed it. I'm glad I did, because it's very good. The whole thing, I like the whole thing. In fact, I was at the record store yesterday and I saw some 45s by this band, Horace Pinker. But I thought I remembered the name, but it didn't click. I didn't really look at them. So I'm going to have to go back, and I'm probably going to do it today. Grab those. So yeah, this is pretty cool. Here's the label. Yeah, I think I'm going to throw a little bit of this on, because I think Vinyl Richie would like to hear it. Alright, I got a picture sleeve for the Rolling Stones Jumpin' Jack Flash. Not in the greatest condition, but I got this pretty cheap. I was able to upgrade my 45 that I had. Has the awesome Child of the Moon Psych B-side. Very cool. Yeah, this was originally come out on a 45 only. Those 2 songs. Then I got Louie Louie on Jordan. And no, this is not an original. This is a counterfeit. Originals are very rare. Very few are pressed. And the originals were all pressed at Monarch Recorders in LA on styrene. This is pressed on real vinyl. Sounded pretty good. And even the reproductions, this is fairly old repro. I think late 70s. And I was doing some digging on the research on this single, and I was reading, and I came across some information that I was really surprised at, because you won't read it in the wiki on this song. And there's a part on the song where as soon as the singer stops singing, you can hear a voice yell out in the background, way in the back of the studio. And he yells the F-bomb. You can hear it clear as day. Fuck. So I never knew that before, and I guess the story behind it, or it's an urban legend, I don't know if it's true, what the deal is, but this is what I read. The drummer was playing drums. and he hit his knuckles on the edge of the cymbal, and he split his knuckles open and started bleeding really bad. And that's why you hear him, fuck. Great story. So, yeah. Let me see if I can get that. Yeah, isn't that crazy? I mean, read the wiki on Lou Louie, and there was a whole FBI investigation on that song, where the FBI was actually analyzing the lyrics, and I think that they were doing that in 65, I think they were doing that or something like that. But anyway, there was a whole thing where the song was banned on a lot of radio stations because, you know, somebody heard some dirty lyrics. There was no dirty lyrics in that song. But anyway, yeah, so the FBI came through again, clear as a bell, you know, somebody's yelling fuck and they didn't even catch it. So it's probably like the first song to be played on the radio, you know, that had that word in it. Then I got original. Now there's some counterfeits of this, but this is an original Hanky Panky, the Shondells on Snap. Come out of, which is a Michigan label. I think this is like a regional release, small label. There's a whole big story about this. So many details that I couldn't even begin to tell you about it, but these are the original recordings that Roulette eventually released on their label. You know, you'd think that maybe this would have alternate takes, but it's actually the same recordings. They were so good that they didn't want to redo them because they didn't want to lose the freshness of the amateur recording. So they might have done a little bit of remastering, but other than that, it's the same recordings. Then I got Unit 4+2, Concrete and Clay, UK beat pop, pretty cool. Then I got the early label variation of Smell of Incense by Southwest FOB. Green Skies. And this is the one that I had. I've had this a long time. So, yeah, I came across this one. I mean, it's a nice shape. It was dirt cheap too. So that was a nice grab. This one's pretty obscure. This is from a Philco box set that was issued as a promotional item. It's from March of '65, and Bob Dylan 45, and you can see it's got Philco stamped on it. There was another Bob Dylan 45 that has Philco stamped on it also, as well as some other 45s. This is the sleeve that I found it in, so it's got a 6-100 on it, so I'm thinking that was probably stamped by Philco also. This thing's in nice shape, real nice shape. So really cool. You just don't see these very often. Yeah, it was kind of a thing where you bought a record player and they would give you a box of records as a promotional incentive. This is The Last Hombres 45. Take my overwhelming love and cram it up your heart. And it's from September of 1968. Now this is really cool. There was going to be a second Hombres album and tracks were recorded for it. but it never got released. But they did issue a couple of 45s. Now the one that came out before this is very disappointing, but this one is very, very cool.
When my resistance was low, you smiled me with kisses till I crawled full of gold. You picked my love to pieces, stole an ill heart. So take my overwhelming love and cram it up your heart. My heart's full of nausea for the things you said and do. I've tried on all your bags, now I'm gonna find one new. You talk in circles and you don't act too very smart. So take my overwhelming love and cram it up your heart.
Alright, I got a few more here. Beaver Tree, San Francisco Girls. And, God, I wish this had been a promo. Because promos are on blue vinyl. But it's a nice shape and I got it cheap, so cool find. Then I got the Beach Boys, Never Learn Not to Love. And this was actually written by Charles Manson. This is a nice shape. It's East Coast pressing. This is actually written by Charles Manson and before the murders. And Dennis Wilson actually stole this song from him. Changed the lyrics a little bit, changed the title, and took the writing credit. When Manson found out, he was furious. I read online that he walked up to Dennis Wilson, set a live bullet on a table in front of him and said, "You see that bullet? As long as you can see that bullet, your family is safe." So that, yeah, and when the murder started happening, I'm sure he was quite freaked out. Him and Gary Usher both. So, yeah, there's a video of the Beach Boys doing this song on live TV. Good song. Good song. It eventually would end up on the Beach Boys 2020 album, but it was released out of 45 first. A couple of months probably before the album came out. Then I got the Guess Who's? The Guess Who's? Baby's Birthday and Hurting Each Other. Nice shape. You don't see these early Guess Who 45s around much at all. I wish it had been Clock on the Wall. I love that song, but glad to find this one anyway. The Birds, My Back Pages, and Renaissance Fair. One of the 45s that I didn't have. This was very cheap, like $1, so I grabbed it. It's a nice shape. Alright, getting down to the last few. This is Guitar Boogie Shuffle, The Virtues. Cool instrumentals. Guitar in Orbit on Hunt. And this is from February of '59. Lonnie Mack, Memphis. Now I guess this was a pretty good hit. Great instrumental version of Memphis by Chuck Berry. Very, very cool. Better than you'd think. Great guitar work. Nice shape. Nice fine. And the last one, now I got this really cheap too, and this is in pretty good shape. It's Eddie Cochran, Dark and Lonely Street. And Sitting on the Balcony. Sitting on the Balcony was the hit. Actually, this is like the first Eddie Cochran 45 on Liberty. And this is the 45, it did so well. This is the 45 that got Eddie Cochran signed to a good record deal on Liberty. And Dark and Lonely Street, non-album, B-side. And it's very cool. Very, very cool. So glad to find that one. Okay, that does it for the showing. And I hope you enjoyed the few needle drops that I did. And next weekend is holiday weekend. So, Labor Day. So, probably be doing a vid on some albums then. So until then, catch you later. Bye.